tremendous looking trophy.
Welcome to the number one PlayStation podcast in the Oceanias. My name's Dylan Blight, and joining me, Ashley Hodley.
Hey Dylan, excited to be here the week before Death Stranding drops.
Is it the week
before everything changes? A new genre of gaming is released. It's going to be interesting.
Well, it's the week of, not the week before.
Of.
Yes. So even more exciting.
This is the episode before. This is
episode before,
pre-Death Stranding.
So PDS.
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 And then PDS is post-Death Stranding.
Yeah. Everyone will know. It'll go down just like
I guess
physical.
it's BDS and then ADS.
Yes. BDS and
before Death Stranding, after Death Stranding.
Yeah. Put that in your Bible and smoke it. In the trophy cabinet this week, a bronze trophy for this month's PS Plus games, a silver trophy for Avengers looking like Destiny, whether you like that or not, a gold trophy for Bluepoint Games and their great tweet, and we hit a platinum with, as we're mentioning, Death Stranding's Metacritic scores not being shit, because the game is indeed out on Friday, right? It's not Thursday, it's Friday.
It's 8th, right?
Double check. Yeah. 8th. It's out on Friday. I had to double check. I was like, some days games comes out on Thursdays. Most of the time they come out on Fridays, but I was like, is Death Stranding being one of those weird ones that comes out on a Thursday? No, it's Friday. Okay, it's fine. Alright, so let's jump into the first thing here. PlayStation Plus games. Nioh and Outlast 2 are your November PlayStation Plus games. Nioh is a game about readying your blade for grueling encounters, waiting around every corner in this action RP set in a land ravaged by civil war is the description for that one. And then Outlast 2's description is, you are Blake Langerman, a cameraman working with your wife Lynn. The two of you investigative journalists willing to take risks and dig deeper to uncover the stories no one else will dare touch. Not really related games, but at the same time they both have like freaky shit in them, I guess, is like the connecting factor among both things that are happening here. Nioh,
do they need to have a connecting factor other than they're on PlayStation?
Well, no, but I was like, sometimes it's just like random games. Sometimes obviously stuff gets on there because like there's a sequel coming out, like The Last of Us, but these very much seem like, hey, let's just
Nioh 2, they announced the release date.
Yep.
And they put the beta up currently
for 2.
If you're this week, if you've got PlayStation, you can go play the beta.
Yeah, I saw your account was playing it, but I didn't think it was you.
No, I did try it out for a little bit. I just got slaughtered by people constantly over and over again. So
I saw you. It's like Ash is playing this. I'm like, is it though? Is it not someone else on his PlayStation?
I was playing it. I'm not playing it well though.
Okay. I attempted. I was trying to download it yesterday so I could discuss it on this thing, but it was taking forever. And it was only that, like I paused it and I got an update for Call of Duty or something downloading, and that went fast, but the Nioh thing was taking forever. So I was like, is everyone trying to download the Nioh thing at the same time I'm trying to download the freaking thing? But I'm keen to give that a go, because I like everything they say, they've changed it up a little bit from the first one. I remember I tried the demo for the first one before it released, and I wasn't a big fan, basically because the inventory stuff, which when the reviews came out was one of the negatives people said about it, the inventory stuff was just giving me the absolute shits, and I couldn't understand what the hell was going on or anything like that, and I'm like, whatever. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm not playing this game. And I moved on. Nioh 2's coming out. They're like, oh, we've fixed that, and we've got better character customization, and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I'll give the demo a go. Give the demo a go. But Nioh 1 on PlayStation Plus, probably still not going to try that, because I'd rather just try
timing.
Yeah, it's like, who has
timing is a big factor.
Who has time to try and... It's like, if you don't care about anything else coming out this year, I guess, and you're still not playing the Outer Worlds or anything like that, and you've got 100 hours spare to gruelingly try and push you through something, if that's what you want to do towards Christmas time, there's Nioh for you.
Cool.
Outlast 2, I never finished. I got too scared at the point and stopped playing it.
That's just like me at the point where I looked at the game.
Yeah, I got a little bit further. At least started playing it, and then some crazy person was chasing me around the house, and I couldn't figure out how to escape them. I was like, "Fuck this game, I'm out." But Outlast also, what's the company that makes that? Red Barrels, or some variation of Red Barrels is the developer. They were like basically teasing that an announcement for another one of their games, or possibly, of course, Outlast 3 might be coming soon. So Outlast 2 being on PlayStation Plus is the thing that makes sense. The only thing that I would have liked to see here is that they could have gave the Outlast collection as part of PS Plus. But I can't remember if the Outlast 1 had already been on PS1.
They did Outlast 1 at some point.
Yeah, they already did it, I think. Yeah, so that probably makes sense. But Outlast 2, if you don't know for some reason, is one of those horror games that's like you don't fight people, you just go along through the game. It's a lot of just walking and story stuff, and then you got to try and creep around people and not be seen. And if you are seen, you got to run and find somewhere to hide, and you have no way to fight back against your enemies is the main thing. And it's a bunch of like environmental storytelling and creepy stuff happening. But this one's about you crashing in this like middle of butt fuck nowhere, crazy religious people camp type thing where they're living out there all by themselves and doing all sorts of crazy things, and crazy things start happening that are seemingly at the start rather towards a supernatural direction, whereas the first game was set solely in a rather stereotypical asylum. This one's more out and open, and you're traversing over a bigger area. So that was kind of cool about it. Either way, yep, get pumped for, we're in November. Happy Christmas. Enjoy Outlast and Nioh.
Very fitting.
Very, very fitting. My pick for this month would be Outlast, solely because even though I didn't finish it, I did not like playing Nioh too much, so I'd pick that one. I feel like I should probably
pick Nioh because it's not Outlast.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think I can know which section you're probably going to pick this one. Next thing, I was nearly going to put it in here because I'm like, I can't believe people are talking about this like it's worth theorizing about, but it was just kind of a funny thing, I guess. So Sony has trademarked Push Square writes, Sony may be preparing for the release of PlayStation 5 in holiday 2020, but that's not stopped it from thinking about the future. Over in Japan, the manufacturer has filed trademarks for the PS6, PS7, PS8, PS9, and PS10. This is obviously just security, but it's still rather amusing to see. Realistically, we wouldn't expect a hypothetical PlayStation 10 to launch until 2055. I like how at the end of the article, they're still trying like extend this into being like a talking point. What would a PS10 even look like? Will we be playing games with a traditional DualShock controller, or will we be connected to the console directly to our brains? Yeah, so this is obviously just a trademarking thing. Although I found it weird that they haven't done this previously, as far as I'm aware. You know, like they didn't just grab PS, 5 through 50 like ages ago. They only just trademarked 6 through 10 for whatever reason.
Well, they just wanted to make sure that PlayStation branding would stick. And now they're very confident that it's going to continue to be.
I wasn't sure. Well, because it's weird. Also, other weird thing about it is just the fact they spend so much time with the PS5 just fucking around with the name and being like, well, we're not ready to confirm the name, even though everyone's like, it's going to be called the PS5. And then they come out and like, we're happy to say it's called the PS5, but they're happy to go out and just like trademark 6 through 10 now. They're like, now that we've committed to 5 of these things, we're willing to commit to 5
10,
more.
Another 5.
Yeah, another 5.
Yeah.
But there's nothing to read into that. Obviously, it's just a bit of a random story. Next thing, latest trailer from Marvel's Avengers basically explains properly what the game will look like and probably play like. So in the trailer, you can see. Have you watched this? Did you watch this full thing?
Yeah, I've watched this trailer.
Okay, so the start of the trailer is basically everything we've seen before. D-Day, A-Day, sorry. I always call it D-Day. A-Day, the Avengers big day happening, and then like the demo I played at PAX where shit goes haywire and he plays all the things, and then it shows a little bit more of stuff we've seen before at E3 or post-E3. No, it was E3, wasn't it? Where they're showing like Tony and all this and like kind of the future where New York or whatever is kind of in rubble and whatever else.
I think at E3 they showed that scene of Tony and Thor.
Yeah, talking and stuff.
That was
yeah.
it.
So the first part of the trailer is kind of just going over that stuff, and then they show Miss Marvel, Which the other thing, this trailer makes sure to, and they did talk about this when they announced her. Like, when did they announce it? Just prior to PAX. So just a week or two before PAX is when they announced her. And this trailer makes sure to say she's like one of the main characters in the game. She's going to be playable. She's going to be the reason that the Avengers start getting back together. And for some reason they didn't like lead with this. This is what I'm saying. Like, if she's like basically the main character, and you could be like, well, the Avengers are all just over here, right? We know their characters, but it's like she sounds like the main character, really, story wise, to me. If she's the fourth that is connecting everyone else and getting the Avengers back together and all this sort of stuff, I'm like, why wasn't that the story they were leading with? Because that's a more interesting story to me. Not.
Well, to you, I think for the mainstream, probably, it's the Avengers. That's the big story. If everybody liked the character designs and everything, then that would have been different. If people were happy with the look of it, then that would have been perfectly fine. And then you would have played the game and Kamala Khan would be in it, and you're like, oh damn, Kamala Khan's in the game. That's cool. Okay. But I think from marketing wise, it's like these big, huge 5 characters that everybody knows and loves, you can play as them, is what they thought would be the best selling point out the gate. But honestly, this is the trailer they should have shown, if not E3, at least way earlier into the marketing campaign.
Yes, because it does better explain what you'll be doing. So, as the trailer explains, you'll be heading out to missions from a menu screen and picking between either single-player only hero missions or Warzone missions, which you can play either solo or online with 3 other players. Hero missions will lock you to playing as a certain character as they lead you along the campaign, while the Warzone missions will let you pick your favorite players. Either way, progression and the unlocks between both are shared. So this is kind of what they tried to explain, but they never explained it properly, which is that there is like a single player campaign kind of thing. Yes. Where it's basically going to be, by sounds of it, semi-tutorialist towards what they would consider the main part of the game, which is obviously playing with other people. Because it's gonna force you to try out all the characters and then be like, oh, which one do you like the most? And here, try out all the characters, try out Ant-Man in this mission, try out whoever else in this mission, blah, 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 blah. You get some sort of story that's going to happen for you that. But I think because obviously the quote unquote like main single player campaign isn't going to have like some dramatic finish where it's like, oh, and the world's saved, because it's like all the post-game content, whatever else is obviously going to be continuing the story. So I think you can expect, I would go in with your expectations for that single player campaign aspect, the main storyline, to not be as groundbreaking and epic as you may want, simply because the story then has to continue through the co-op missions stuff and then the post-game content and so on and so forth. Like I would expect it to be up at the level of like Destiny, Division 2, for example, which is the last sort of game I played like this, which at the end of it, you defeat one faction, but then like more bad guys come in and then it's like, oh, and here comes the DLC. You know, like it's not like, and the world is saved, credits roll, fuck yeah. It leaves it open for the rest of the game, obviously.
Is the world ever really saved?
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly. So
that is true.
I mean, they're obviously setting up AIM as the massive enemy for this game,
which is boring because it's a bunch of robots.
Yeah, what are you going to do? But yeah, I suspect that's who you'll beat during the main campaign, and possibly there'll be other different villains during these hero missions. Maybe it's cameos of different villains from Marvel history.
Yeah,
you have to boss battle or whatever. So, I mean, this has got me sold on this game more than anything they've shown so far.
Interesting.
At least it explains it. There's definitely going to be at least a single player campaign. It definitely makes sense. It just makes sense now, rather than what they were showing before that didn't make sense.
Well, I find that interesting simply because this trailer didn't get me more hyped. It just kind of confirmed what my fears about the game, and I wouldn't say it excites me more.
Your fears,
yeah, because this isn't really what I want from this sort of game, I guess. Which, you know, if you do, then cool. If you don't, then whatever. But yeah, so it's like with the mission structure thing, looking at this in the trailer or the screenshots, because I'm looking at the article I posted on explosionhour.com. The menu thing there looks very Destiny, where you're moving a cursor on top of different icons on the screen and then selecting which mission you want to do, which is exactly what you do in Destiny. You select a planet and then select like this mission over here, this strike over here, or whatever. And then down the bottom, you can see like press square to select the difficulty, which is exactly like Destiny as well. And then I presume if you replay missions on hard, you'll get better rewards. They'll probably do daily missions where it's like you replay this mission on a difficulty, blah, 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 get higher rewards, get gear, all this sorts of thing. Because then to lean more into the Division and Destiny like stuff that this game is going to be about, you can then also see in the trailer is Iron Man on a gear screen that shows different colors of equipment, including green, blue, and purple, very Destiny like colors as well, as well as each one providing your quote unquote gear power, as well as perks that it seems you can unlock on that piece of equipment if you meet the requirement. So for example, like in the trailer has this Nightfire Strike gauntlets and it says 26 gear power, which is basically like 26 light power. Like the screen looks exactly like Destiny to me. Like the character on the side, the gear part over here. I mean, it's not copy paste exactly, but it's like there's no way that anyone who's ever played Destiny or seen Destiny doesn't look at this screen and go, that looks very much like Destiny. Like, it doesn't look anything like the Division. It looks very Destiny-like. And then the stat screen also says, like, I can't read it from here. I'll have to zoom in, but I don't want to. Some sort of perk called Nightfire or something like that. And then it says, unlock perk, press square, and then resource requirement is some sort of thing. And it says they've got 207 out of the required 50 to unlock it. So then they can unlock that perk for that piece of gear. And then also at the bottom of the screen, there's like a whole heap of different icons for different sorts of resources, I would presume. And these are resources that you'll have to collect to unlock perks on different sorts of equipment. And then I guess that means that you'll be wanting to find a piece of equipment that you like before unlocking the perk on it, because I don't know if like you'd get back the material. I wouldn't expect you to get back all the material once you've put the material into unlocking the perk. You know what I mean?
Dismantle button.
Yeah, you probably dismantle it. Maybe you get some back, but I wouldn't expect you to get the full,
won't get
like,
the exact
50.
same. That's not how games work.
Yeah, that's not how games work. Yeah. So yeah, looking at this screen, and like also at the top it says like character level 5, melee damage 427, range 379. You know, a bunch of stats, these sorts of things. And previously to this in the trailer, they did show a bunch of skins and stuff, which to me isn't that exciting because it's like, cool skins. I'm sure some of them are going to look cool, but at the same time, I fully expect them all to be fucking microtransactions, even though they said they weren't going to have microtransactions in the game. But we'll wait and see about that. Yeah, looking at this, they on the E3 thing, they were like, remember they made a big kerfuffle. They're like, our game will have no microtransactions, and everyone was like, whoa,
yeah, but they meant it the same way Randy Pitchford meant it.
Yeah, I think, yeah. I'm waiting for like and then I'll go rewatch that to make sure they didn't twist the words. But looking at this screen and seeing the gear and this sort of thing, this does excite you then. Like, you're like, yeah, this is what I want from this game.
I mean, at least it confirms a single player campaign that I can play through without anybody if I don't want to. Mm-hmm. And then just extra stuff on top. And it's got different things you can unlock and different gears and stuff. So again, it'll scratch an itch, I think. It's different to any superhero game we've gotten so far. So yeah, it's got that going for it. And I understand why they want to throw that Destiny aspect in, just to keep the game ongoing.
Games as service.
Especially with all these characters they want to add in eventually. But as long as they've got a cohesive narrative for the single player campaign, I'll be happy.
Yeah, I'm not like completely turned off it. I'm just worried because I don't like, you play something like Spider-Man obviously last year, like just a straight up, highly well produced, well made Spider-Man game. Play it, cool. Did all the DLC, cool. Loved it. This, where the focus seems to be more on creating a product that they can then like stretch out over several years, obviously, like Destiny and Division with extended stuff, and then the potential like, okay, so how much are they going to try and scab people for all these extra costumes and shit? And it gets harder for me to be like, oh yeah, heaps of DLC costumes are perfectly fine. Even though I haven't played Borderlands, I love seeing everyone like just being happy that all of the costumes and stuff that you get for that game, which there's a ton apparently from what I see, are just in the game. They cost money. Just fucking unlock them. What a trivial concept. Who'd have thought you could just unlock costumes on the day that your game releases? Yeah, so I don't know. There's just certain things that have me worried about the game. If it turns out to be good, like you know, like Destiny's fine. Like Destiny, like what doesn't actually try and scam you for microtransactions and stuff. The Division 2 isn't as good about that. Like you pause that game and it's like, I would like money, please. Would you like a loot box type thing? And I never gave it money, of course, but it's like you pause that game and it's very much like, would you like to give money, please? So I hope this isn't that. I hope it's more in the line of Destiny. But yeah, looking at the screens and stuff, I'm like, I don't know. But if I have people to play it with, then I guess it'll be more fun. But then I guess if I get stuck trying to play the Warzone missions or whatever the fuck they're called with like, even if I have you and it's like two other randoms, it's still just like, maybe it's not as fun. Like if you had a full fucking squad. So
I mean, apparently you can play them solo, but
yeah, but I presume it would be very boring to play.
Yeah.
I just presume it's going to be a lot of wave shooting and stuff, which
probably,
would be more fun if you're able to. Maybe I'll listen to a podcast while I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you want to check out this trailer, as I said, it's up on the website. The article will be linked down below. But I would say that this trailer, Marvel's Avengers Game Overview, gives you the best idea that we've had so far about what the hell this game is actually going to be. Next up.
I mean, it's still 6 months away. So
it is, but at the same time, it's like they're not changing the core gameplay structure in 6 months.
No.
They can change the UI, like the way I'm like, this looks very Destiny. Like I fully expect it because even in trailer it says down the bottom, in progress or whatever. I fully expect when it releases that UI will look quite different to what we see in that trailer, but it's still just like the core concepts and everything are there and they're not going to change. So, coming from Bush Square, Bluepoint Games is making a big game for the PlayStation 5, which we expect to be Demon's Souls remake. Of course, nothing's been confirmed at this stage, and the Texas-based developer is having fun with all the speculation in order to celebrate Halloween. It's composed a tweet which somehow manages to reference at least 7 PlayStation-associated franchises. So here's the tweet, in case you haven't seen it. It's quite funny. Bluepoint Games wrote on Twitter, "So calm this spooky night. A sympathy of rumors. Not one, but 2. Return from shadow. A resistance to dart home as black monsters escape twisted hills to wonderlands and siphon souls. Filter your candy collections soft from solid and be eco-friendly. Have a metal Halloween." And then the article down below lists the titles that we all presume were mentioned, which is Castlevania Symphony of Night, Demon's Souls, Metal Gear Solid, Resistance, Siphon Filter, The Legend of Dragoon, and Twisted Metal. One thing they don't mention
What's
here...
the Legend of Dragoon reference?
Hold on. Return Shadow Resistance, Dark Black Home is Black Monsters. Yeah, is what I believe. I haven't played it. I just think I'm pretty sure that's one that everyone's saying. The other thing that I saw people pointing out on Twitter in the responses to it, which I think is also something of note maybe, they say sympathy of rumors, not 1, but 2, which people are like, are they working on 2 games? Not just 1 that everyone's been presuming? Or is this whole tweet just one big troll? Is there no truth to be found within between the lines here at all?
Are they cancelling out all these franchises?
Maybe. They're like, it's not any of them. Don't know.
You gotta appreciate the effort that went into this.
Yeah, it was quite funny. Because everyone in the day it posted, everyone was like, I saw people sharing it and stuff, and like trying to be like, oh, it's this, it must be this, it's this, oh, it's Siphon Filter, just really stirred the rumor pot up a little bit. It will be interesting to find out when they actually. I mean, I don't want to take anything from them being able to tweet out trolley sort of stuff like this. But I'm like, are they tweeting out stuff like this, meaning that maybe we'll actually find out soon? Like, you know what I mean? Like, are they teasing it somewhat because they're going to actually somewhat reveal it soon? I don't know. Like, are we in a world where even though the PS5 is releasing... Answer this. Are we in a world where they could actually reveal this at like the Game Awards?
Yep. We are in a world like that.
Well, I guess...
I mean, it just depends on which game it is, I guess.
Well, they reckon it's the biggest thing they've ever done. And I mean, as much... Even if you don't like Shadow of the Colossus, that's one of the most loved games of all time, and they remade that, so it's huge. So
huge game.
What's bigger out of
on
that,
top of the Nathan Drake collection, which was all 3 Uncharted games?
And it's like, what's bigger than that? Castlevania? No. Demon Souls? As much as everyone believes it's Demon Souls, I'm like, is Demon Souls bigger than Shadow of the fucking Colossus? And you know, like, no.
To a very small market,
I guess. Yeah,
so
it's
no.
like, so out of the full list. And then you got Resistance, Siphon Filter, Legend of Dragoon, Twisted Metal. The one that would actually be acceptable as bigger would be Metal Gear Solid, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I don't see how that works, considering Konami.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I mean, and the only 3 of those are actual Sony properties?
Yes. So
Resistance, Siphon Filter, Twisted Metal?
Yes. And
so
it's a
you would
PS5
assume
game, so
potentially one of those. And if it was to be one of those, I guess Resistance is the biggest one of those. It could be like a 3-game collection.
Bigger than...
Of those 3 options, that's the biggest one.
I guess. I mean, I would happily take it. I've said before, I really, really like Resistance, and I wish they were still making them. That was my preferred over Killzone. But bigger than those other games they've already done? No, I don't think so. But Siphon Filter, absolutely love Siphon Filter. If they remade the first Siphon Filter, I would flip my fucking lid. I played those games on repeat when I was a kid. I would go to a friend's house and we would just play through start to finish of the first 3 Siphon Filters over and over and over and over. So if they remade that, I would flip my lid. But at the same time, I'm like, realistically, are they remaking Siphon Filter? Probably not. You know, like they ain't going to sell well, I don't think. Like, maybe in today's age, the first game's literally about terrorists setting off like fucking toxic bombs in New York City and shit. I don't know. Days Gone's out. There's a tie-in. The games are connected. Let's all do that as a thing. Twisted Metal. I mean, no, I just don't think that's big either. I honestly don't know. Maybe it's nothing here. Maybe it is Demon Souls.
Yeah.
But even then, I'm like...
I mean, maybe this is another game they're working on. And their other big one is still in the works. They've not mentioned.
But yeah, I'm gonna like hope that maybe they're saying this because they're allowed to tease it now because they might be announcing something come Game Awards or something like that. But I seriously hadn't...
Who knows? They can just tease stuff at any point in time. We still don't know what friggin' WB...
Rocksteady, WB, whatever.
What Montreal is doing.
Yeah. I never clicked onto this until I started thinking about that, but I was like, holy shit, we're approaching the Game Awards this year where I would presume most of the world reveals and world, you know, that sort of stuff is actually going to be next gen stuff, right? You know, they're not going to be world revealing anything that's dropping current gen. So basically all of the stuff we'll be seeing is next gen.
Well, they could.
Well, they could, but I do you not think that
stuff that's releasing July, August?
Yeah.
Before.
But the only reason I think this is because most of the time, if you think back at what's shown at Game Awards, it's usually stuff that's like a year to 2 years away. Like it's all usually like quiet ages away. Like think about the Campo Santo's the photography thing. You know?
Yeah, that's true.
Still haven't seen that for
That's
ages.
different. That's an indie game. Then you think of Far Cry New Dawn. They come out like 3 months later.
We could get a mix of that, you know. Like I expect them to reveal Far Cry again, possibly. I wouldn't put that past it, and they could release that obviously March, April, or something like that. But at the same time, we could be getting a mix of like that, and then World Reveal Bluepoint Games is remaking Resistance. Like I don't know. We'll see. Interesting. Next article comes from PlayStationLifestyle.net. Over 70 Guerrilla Games developers assisted with Death Stranding's production. Kojima Productions' 3-year development of Death Stranding is nothing short of impressive. The studio began production in 2016 and is already releasing a finished product. Clearly, some of this was made easy with the help of Guerrilla Games, whose Decima engine powers Death Stranding. In addition, it's known Kojima Productions has extra assistance from the Horizon Zero Dawn team. The public didn't quite know to what extent. However, according to Death Stranding's credits, over 70 staff members from Guerrilla Games took part in developing Kojima's latest. Video Game Chronicle took note of the sheer number of Guerrilla developers cited in Death Stranding's credits. Apparently, of those 70 staffers, 40 served as engineers for the Kojima product. This includes a handful of key Horizon Zero Dawn programmers. The Killzone studio also aided Kojima Productions in departments such as animation, art, audio, cinematic, and visual effects. Interestingly, Horizon Zero Dawn's senior quest designer, James Newper, received a quest design credit for Death Stranding, according to VGC. Which was obviously quite interesting because it is the reason everyone kept jokingly saying, of course, like, Death Stranding isn't going to release anytime soon. The reason everyone thought it was going to take forever is because Kojima isn't known to get games out on time, obviously. And it seems like possibly the reason that he did actually get the game out on time is that had heaps of help. 70 staff from another studio helping at a game is more than some studio have full stop. You know what I mean? Most studios have full stop.
Yeah.
It's a lot, and they haven't really mentioned it, and it's just going to creep in the credits. I don't know what the percentage there is. And then it also makes the other news from last week, which I only just remembered I should probably mention here, which is that Death Stranding wasn't officially announced, finally, that it is coming to PC on some date in 2020. Like, they didn't put a thing on it.
A year from now.
Basically, yeah, probably, I guess, would make sense, like a year. So it's coming to PC. They announced that randomly on the Kojima Productions account. I wasn't shocked because, of course, we've talked about it before with the whole thing, like PS4 exclusive thing disappearing and all this sort of stuff. Like, Kojima's obviously in interviews always been very coy about is it not a PS4 exclusive. It seemed like he was trying to never lie too much, but at the same time, he obviously was legally probably not allowed to confirm the PC thing until now for whatever reason. But then at the same time, I find it really weird that they're talking about the PC release the week before it releases on PS4. That seems a bit odd. Like, talk about its PC release like a month after its release on PS4, not a week before it's released on PS4. That seems quite odd.
I don't think it'll affect any sales. I don't think anybody who owns a PS4 is going to wait 12 months to play it on PC. But yeah, it seems an odd thing, maybe just to placate certain people. At least he didn't confirm a storefront. So, that would have been...
Kojima Productions storefront. He's doing his own.
No, Death Stranding coming exclusively to Epic Games Store. That would have
possibly
blown up the internet.
Not to kick a storm into the internet with this, but they confirmed that Sony will not be publishing the game, right? So when it comes to PC, Sony will not be the one actually publishing it, which is even more odd, of course, when all this Horizon Decima engine owned by PlayStation, 70 Guerrilla staff worked on the game, and Sony's not publishing on PC. 505 Games is publishing on PC. 505 Games' biggest thing they've published this year, unless I'm missing something, is Control. Control was an Epic Games Store exclusive. not to start any sort of hardcore rumor mill, but the facts are there, So 505 Games will be indeed. They said, quote here, we're extremely excited and honored to be working with the superly talented team at Kojima Productions to bring Death Stranding to PC gamers around the world, said 505 Games co-founder and CEO Rafi Gallant. Death Stranding will take gamers for a completely original experience that will delight PC gamers everywhere. So whenever that gets announced, I presume they'll put a release date early 2020, probably. And be like, get hype, son. That kind of leads us to a last thing, of course, which is that Death Stranding's reviews dropped. And although we don't usually bother talking about Metacritic scores on this show at all, I don't think I've ever brought them up. But considering we don't get to play it until this Friday, you won't get to hear our thoughts until next week, of course, because we haven't had a chance to play it. I thought just go over it. So it's currently sitting at an 84 on Metacritic. If you don't know what Metacritic does, it's an aggregate. Metacritic does not review the games. I just want to clarify that. And you may be like, that's silly, Dylan. We know. You don't all know. Believe me, y'all don't know.
It's like Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah. Rotten Tomatoes gave this movie a shit score. Rotten Tomatoes didn't review shit. Shut the fuck up. So I think the reviews, I haven't read any of the reviews because I don't want I don't want to read anyone's opinions. You know, I want to go in as fresh as I can without things. I've been looking at the scores, and that's as far like that's not going to affect how I can play the game. I'm happy to see people's scores or whatever and be like, oh, that's interesting. But I haven't read anyone's reviews simply because I don't want my opinion, you know, with the mixed up or whatever. So it's been getting all over the place though. It's got heaps of 10s, heaps of 8s, heaps of 9s.
Well, not on Metacritic, but I know different places probably open. If you go to OpenCritic, that's probably got a more spread out or larger assortment of outlets rather than Metacritic, which is like the top.
It's a big critics. Metacritic is only the top, the big ones. Yeah, we're not on Metacritic. We are on OpenCritic. But I use Metacritic.
Why are we even talking about this Metacritic?
Because that's what everyone understands. Like, we can use OpenCritic. Fuck you then, OpenCritic. Yeah. We're officially cancelling Metacritic on the show. I thought Metacritic would be the one to use. It's the one that everyone mostly uses. I prefer to use OpenCritic simply because it's the it's the one that we're on. So it interests me. Sure, Death Stranding, OpenCritic over here. Right, so click on it. OpenCritic has a top critic average of 86. 84% critics recommend it. So it's got a mighty ranking on OpenCritic. So it's close to Metacritic thing, of course, anyway. But 78 reviews total, ranging from how to organize these by score. Thank you very much. Yeah, so 10 out of 10s comes from like Push Square, Screen Rant, EGM. We got this covered, digitally download, blah, 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 Daily Star, trusted reviews, a bunch of places. And then your IGNs and stuff kind of meet in the middle where they're giving it like, what they give it, a 6.7 or something like that. I know other sites like Spot, whatever it's called, gave it like a really high score as well. And then some sites are being, the lowest scores all come from Australia. Let's not beat around the bush. The lowest scores given to this game are all coming from Australian outlets, which is, of course, just an interesting little tidbit to add to the story.
Yeah, it turns out in the game you murder koalas and kangaroos, and you just do a bunch of un-Australian things.
Possibly. You know? Player2.net.au.
You say Vegemite is disgusting. You are
look,
stamp on Australian flag.
Player2.net.au gave it a D. Australian. Power Up gave it a 3. Survivor gave it a, what was it, 3? Steviva gave it a 3.5. So all of but some Australian outlets did give it high scores as well. I saw the reviewer for news.com.au gave it a one of. They don't score, but it said it was like one of the best games.
I don't ever score it, but it was a positive. It was very a positive review.
So either way, the reviews are all over the place, and as expected, the game is polarizing. Which is why I thought
which is kind of what we were all expecting going in.
It's exactly what I was expecting, and I don't know why everyone was in a big kerfuffle when the reviews dropped and was shocked to see that it's polarizing. And also, the only thing I want to say in this, lastly again, and I've said it on Arcade Couch, I want to say it again, because fuck all yous. These reviews are fucking dropping, and I'm still seeing people writing that they acting like they were lied to about what this game's gameplay was going to be. You were not lied to. You watched the fucking CGI cutscenes and with Troy Baker and Mads Mikkelsen, and you thought it was going to be some weird, hardcore, like third-person shooter type thing. What you failed to watch was the actual gameplay that they released.
There was no guns at any point. Why do you think it's a third-person shooter?
Well, they show someone shooting in one of the trailers. You got Mads Mikkelsen in all his army gear, and he like doing his whole like finger like to face like shh, and then like he walks off, and his army dudes are like got guns next to him. I guess it makes it look more action orientated, and the people acting like they've been lied to. But saying it again, I'm gonna say it one last fucking time before I can talk about the game with my own opinions. They released 2 hours of gameplay at Tokyo Game Show. We talked about it on here for 40 fucking minutes, I think. I literally went basically bit by bit over the gameplay and broke down and explained what happens in the gameplay. If you didn't want to watch the gameplay, then it's your fault for not listening to this podcast enough. Is all I'm going to say. All right. I spent 40 fucking minutes on it explaining what the game is. And you want to, these people on the internet are like, we got lied to about the game. No, you didn't. You should listen to Platinum Explosion, #1 PlayStation podcast in the Oceanias, where we tell you what PlayStation games are about. And I break them down for you. Because I watch TGS shit. Because it's a PlayStation fucking thing. And I watch the gameplay.
Yeah.
Even though it's not in English. And I have to put up with horribly YouTube auto-translate fucking captions, and I watch it, and I explain what Death Stranding's about. You don't believe
it. Yeah, I will say I'm surprised that the average score is so high. I thought these lower scores would drag it down a bit more, but it seems like even though it is polarizing, people are generally liking or appreciating it.
Yeah, well, so I don't know who tweeted it. I saw someone tweet this morning. Most of the reviews are up now that for people who had early access, presumably, and the game, even though it's polarizing, it also has the most amount of 10s out of any game released this year, apparently. Also, the tweet said.
Well, to be fair, that probably says more about the standard of games this year, which I would say haven't been as amazing as past.
I mean,
years.
Yeah, it's
which. You could just read into it's a cycle thing.
It's a cycle thing, in my opinion.
Or it's just, timing.
IMO.
Bad timing.
Cycle thing. Death Stranding, cool. Anyway, that's it. Picking up the game on Friday. I have to work all weekend, so I probably won't play it. Cool. That's great. That is part of the game, though. I'll own the game, but have to work.
Time.
And finding time to do the game is part of the game. So that'll do it for this week's episode of Platinum Explosion. Follow me on Twitter at Vivaladil, VRVALADIL. You can follow Ash on Twitter at AshleyHob, BSHLEYHOBLEY. Follow the show on Twitter at Plat Podcast. You can follow the show and help out by giving a review either on Apple Podcasts or Podchaser, or just tweet at any of the above accounts. Be like, yeah, thank you for explaining what Death Stranding was ahead of time, Dylan. Fucking hell. You can join our Discord to chat to us about games and ask for any trophy tips. Send in any questions or topics you may have for the show. If you're playing Death Stranding and you want to send in your thoughts ahead of next week's episode, do that there as well. That's the thing. ExplosionNetwork.com/Discord or all the twits. This is, of course, a product of Explosion Network, of which you can find many more shows, articles, news, and reviews over at ExplosionNetwork.com. And you can follow Explosion Network on Twitter at ExplosionPod. Until next week, remember that every trophy counts.